Hi, today I will discuss the concept of least restrictive environment, or LRE for short. First, I'm going to discuss the concept of LRE in general, and then I will explain how this concept applies to deaf and hard of hearing children. From a legal perspective, LRE means that disabled students are given the opportunity to interact with non-disabled students. At its most basic level, LRE means that each school must ensure two things: that as much time as possible, children with disabilities are educated with children who are non-disabled, and two, that special classes, schooling, occurs only if the disability is so severe that education in the regular classes cannot be achieved satisfactorily. According to IDEA, when discussing LRE, the IEP team should consider four things. How much time is appropriate for the individual child to be in the mainstream? Is the student with a disability making progress in the regular classes? And you have to remember that there's no specific place identified in the law. This is an IEP team decision. Last, has the IEP team considered all alternate placements? Sometimes the IEP team assumes that LRE is tied to the local program. In actuality, LRE is not place specific. It is entirely based on the needs of the child. By law, when discussing the educational needs of the child, the IEP team should be presented with and discuss all possible options. Now, the concept of LRE, when applied to deaf and hard of hearing students, can be very challenging. Often, the IEP team follows the same pattern in choosing LRE. First, they consider local programs. Then, they move on to a local program that has additional support, like interpreters, etc. If that's not effective, then they move to a self-contained classroom, still in the local program, where they're with other students with disabilities. Finally, they'll send the deaf or hard of hearing student to a school for the deaf. But here's the question: is this effective? In all honesty, no. According to the Federal Register, legal interpretation of LRE for deaf and hard of hearing students is often misapplied and misinterpreted. Federal interpretation says that the unique communication needs for deaf and hard of hearing students must be addressed when discussing LRE. LRE must provide an educational setting that meets the child's needs. Historically, program options are considered over time, at the annual IEP meeting, or even every several years, all the while losing precious educational opportunities for the child. In truth, this process does not fit the needs of deaf and hard of hearing students. Access to communication is a key factor when considering LRE. Per law, the IEP team should consider the deaf and hard of hearing students' rights to direct communication. Now, direct communication, what does that mean? How is that defined? It should be defined based on individual basis, based on current assessment, data, observations. For some students, direct communication means through the use of ASL without an interpreter. For others, it means spoken language, with or without sign support. For other students, it just means direct communication with additional tools to access communication. The Deaf Child's Bill of Rights states that the IEP team should consider 4 things: the deaf or hard of hearing child's language and communication needs. 2, providing opportunities for direct communication with peers and professionals and personnel in the child's own language. 3, making sure that the program meets the academic level of the child and provides for a full range of needs. And finally, all programming provides opportunity for direct communication in the child's language. Now, not all deaf and hard of hearing children communicate in the same way. The point is that the IEP team is legally obligated to identify the child's communication mode and language, and combine that with the educational needs of the individual child. Once that's identified, then the IEP team needs to consider all program options, and LRE can be determined.